Booze and boards, boards and booze. Bad guys at large, it's bad news. No beer this time, so we won't lose. We found their lair, they'll pay their dues. The town is saved, so now we booze. Booze and boards, boards and booze. With Mickey and Jeb.
A good problem to have.
Yep.
Jeb was just commenting. He loves when I interrupt him like that. He hates it. But he was just commenting that we haven't been showing a lot of beer lately in a show that's called Booze and Boards.
Yeah.
But my good friend Jeb got me this. It's a double IPA, which he hates. So he bought them for me because I like them a lot. So.
And that's how we introduce Run, Fight, or Die.
Yeah. So, Run, Fight, or Die is on tap today.
Hey.
See what I did there? Yeah, that's a Jeb joke. That was
Tap
bad.
dancing.
Oh my god. See, that's a Jeb joke. That's just not even funny. So, actually it's not Run, Fight, or Die. It's Run, Fight, or Die Reloaded. So Jeb is wrong again.
I was
This is
80% right.
This is a Gray Fox game. They're the same company that did Midgard, and they've done some other ones that we have. That I think we have, but I don't know if we've done reviews on them.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. So.
Anyways, this is a. You probably figured out from the title of the game. It's a zombie type of survival game for up to
1 to 4 players, 14 plus, and 30 to 45 minutes.
I still think 14 might be a little high. I feel like a lot of these games go high, and I don't know if they do that because the themes
I think
or not.
for this one it might be the thing, because there was like some, I don't know, because it's like zombies and killing. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I mean,
children these days are so desensitized, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, probably every 14-year, well, not everyone, but like a lot of 14-year-olds probably watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And that's kind of way grosser than this game is.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so it is a survival type of thing. You have different characters, waves of zombies come at you, so a little bit of like a sort of a tower defense type of thing. I guess you could call it semi-co-op.
Yeah, because I think the game ends when a person dies, so you don't really want a person to die, but even if they die, there's still like conditions of who did better when everybody lost. So it's kind of one of those.
Yeah, it's like, so one of the ending conditions, if somebody dies, and then whoever's left, obviously playing 2 people, the other person would automatically win.
Right.
Otherwise, you look at victory points, and then whoever, but ideally you kind of all want to make it out and everybody look at their victory points. There is a little bit of messing with the other person, but I don't think it's heavy. You know what I mean? There's not a ton.
It doesn't feel like games where it's you purposely mess with them. It's just kind of like a side effect.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like you use this certain thing, and because you used this, there's an effect on the people around you.
Yeah.
And although it does give you the ability to pick who it happens to.
So that's where you can kind of screw somebody over.
Right, exactly. Anyways, it's not an every turn usually type of thing. So, anyways, so we'll be back unless Jeb has anything else to say. Oh, we didn't do the designers.
Right.
Richard
Launius.
Yeah. We're good at these, huh?
Ryan James. I got that one right.
Yeah, Tyler Myatt.
Yep.
Hey, that's pretty good. He's going to comment and be like, that's not how you pronounce my last name.
Was there anything special? Because you got this off of Kickstarter, right?
Oh, yes. This was, I usually do talk about this. So this was a Kickstarter game for me. A lot of my normal reasons. Gray Fox, because I really do like Champions of Midgard a lot. And one of the other games that I haven't got to play yet, but is they have a social deduction game called Deception that I've heard from multiple people is the best social deduction party game from a lot of people. Now I know that doesn't mean everybody thinks that, but it's very high on that list for people. And then I'm always a sucker for this type of comic booky looking art.
It's also a sucker for board games.
And board games. So you put all that together, and reading through the Kickstarter campaign, I was like, this sounds like a pretty easy, just kind of brainless, fun, not big thinky game. And I like to look for things that are easy to get maybe somebody else to actually sit down and play. I haven't run this one by my wife yet, but I don't think she'd have any problem with this one.
You haven't run it by your wife?
No, okay, that's enough. We're going into components now.
Oh,
no!
It's going to be a 3-player game.
It will be a 3-player
game. Alright, we'll get to components.
Okay, here we go with components for Run, Fight, or Die Reloaded. And take it away, Jeb.
6 custom action dice.
There they are.
They have how many? Each side's unique, right?
Yeah, so you have a bat, a run, a suitcase-looking thing, and a map-looking thing. So, explore. Oh shoot, I forget what the suitcase is called. I forget what and the bat's a bat, and then there's a gun. Never mind, Jeb, just cut all that stuff out, because I can't remember the names of this stuff.
Bat, gun, run, search.
Yeah, bat, gun, run, search.
Yeah.
No, wait, one more. Zombie and, what's the suitcase?
The suitcase? You mean the
Explore.
map?
Explorer is the map, and, anyhow.
Yeah.
Alright, and then I don't know if that's in where Jeb's reading. And then you have a yellow die, which is for solo mode. Okay, so those are your dice for the game.
Alright, for the players, when they set up, they're going to need a character board and a zombie board.
Okay, now remember, I have the expansion included here, so I don't remember if any of these are exclusive to Kickstarter, but these are all the characters that I have in this box, which the characters in this game are very whimsical and really, I like the art and they're very cool. So,
yep, looks like a good variety.
Definitely a good variety of stuff, and they all have some kind of unique ability.
I'll take them. And then the zombie board that goes with them.
Okay, and then every player gets a zombie board that has 3 different zones, and then you put your character card will go down there, even though I'm jumping ahead into setup. And Jeb's probably going to cut that out.
No, I'll leave it. Maybe. We'll see.
Jeb likes to cut me out of things. I haven't watched a video, and I wonder if I'm even in them anymore.
It's just booze and boards with Jeb.
You figured out how to dub your face over mine, so it's 2 Jebs, no Mickey. Okay.
Jeb and Jeb.
Okay.
Alright, so next up are the different cards in the game. So there's location cards.
Okay, so your location cards have this fancy background.
It says locations.
Yep.
There are follower cards.
And those are those fancy cards that say followers.
Loot cards. I'm gonna put some money down on what it says on the back of those cards. Loot.
Yeah, it does.
Mutant zombie cards. And reference cards.
The purple ones.
Yep. Is that stack over there all solo stuff?
I was going to get to that, but Jeb has already realized that, yes, this came with some solo stuff. So big solo mode. And you have trauma cards. You have action cards. Some upgrades. And some other things. I don't know what they do. So.
Alright. Let's do the zombies. There's a bunch of zombies.
Alright, and so you get a ton of zombie figures. There was actually some extra ones that got put in with the expansion to make sure that you had enough.
And this is not all of the ones.
No, this is just a sample of what they You know, they're all. I mean, I think this is the girl zombie, boy zombie.
And there's this one really big zombie.
Mutant zombie. Figure mutant zombie has a chip or
A tile that goes with
tile. So you can use either that you want.
All right, and then the last things to go over are the tokens. So there are wound tokens.
Surprise! They look like blood drops.
Zombie tokens.
Spread these out so you can see them. So they're the brown or the tan ones. They have a picture of a zombie on one and random numbers on the back.
Yep. And then the leadership tokens.
Leadership tokens are the blue ones that have like a guy holding a gun in the air like, hey, I won! And they are also random numbers on the back. If you're wondering what the numbers are, they're victory points.
Alright, I think that's everything for components.
There you go.
Alright, so for setup, the first thing you want to do is give each player a zombie board.
Okay. And as normal, we will set up based on you basically as one player in this game. It's not that important that you see everybody's because you're just playing in front of you, so it doesn't really matter how everybody else is set up.
Yep.
Because everybody else is going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Next is determine starting player, which they have a way to do it, or you can do whatever you want. So.
Right.
After that, you will be selecting your characters. So beginning with the player to the right of the starting player and going counterclockwise, each player will choose their character from the ones that are available. So here's everything available.
Who do you want to be, Jeb?
Number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Was it the samurai?
Yes.
Really?
For real. So Jeb is randomly going to be the Wanderer, who is a samurai, so made him happy.
Alright, next up is to place the supply of zombie minis in the center of the play area.
Okay, so these will all go basically within reach, so wherever you want to put them. Center is probably going to be the best. Although you don't want to put them real close to your boards, so in case you tip over your own or something like that,
right.
They like kind of keep a little bit of distance so that the supply doesn't end up being close to somebody's board, so you know what's exactly on a board.
Right. Next up, you will place zombies onto your zombie board, so it's like an initial population.
Mm-hmm.
So in zone 1, you're going to put 2 zombies. In zone 2, you're going to put 3 zombies. And in zone 4, you're going to put 4 zombies.
There is no zone 4.
There's zone 3, you put 4 zombies.
Oh.
I think that's what I said.
I swear you said zone 4.
Well, I have no idea. I'll see if I remember during editing.
Okay.
Next.
Anyways, this is what it looks like. Yeah. So either I can't hear or Jeb can't talk. Let's hope it's Jeb can't talk or he's going to make fun of me.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's I can't talk. Alright, next you're going to shuffle each of the following decks. The follower deck, the loot deck, and the mutant deck. And then you're just going to put these kind of within reach of people.
Yep, so again, so you know these are just on the table. It doesn't, this is in front of you. This is group, community group. And so that one's going to go somewhere. These all have discard piles, so you want to leave a little bit of space.
Yep. Okay,
but within easy reach of somebody. It doesn't even have to be everybody, as long as somebody takes care of it.
Someone can do it. Next, you're going to remove the town line card from the location deck, and then shuffle the cards.
Okay, so what that means is you scroll through here, and there's one called the town. Oops, I didn't pass it, did I? No, the town line. All right, and it's probably on top because I probably did something smart. I did. Unlike Jeb, I did something smart.
Story of my life.
Okay, so the town line, which is basically one of the win conditions, is taken out. And then we shuffle the deck.
you are going to select 5 of those location cards from the deck
1,
you
2,
shuffled.
3, 4, 5.
And you're going to shuffle the town line into those 5.
And then shuffle, 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 shuffle.
And then, depending on the player count, you're going to put 3 locations per player on top of that. So we did a 3-player game.
So 9 are going to go on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's actually, how many players does this go up to? Did we say?
4.
Is it 4 or 5?
4 on the bottom.
Alright, so you'll always have, no matter how many of the player count, you'll always have at least a few extra location cards. These, again, go on top of this. So if you're doing math, your 10th location card is the quickest you'd be able to find the town line.
Yep. Next, you are going to place the wound tokens and the mutant zombie token in the center of the play area. I'll move these so let's say that's the center of the play area.
Right. Still, along the lines is this. This is just within play of everything. You can go like that, however you want to do it.
You're going to take the zombie tokens and shuffle them, which is pretty much make sure all of them are face down and kind of...
So I'll take a couple out. I'm not taking them all out. So flip them all over so that the zombie face is up. And then
it's going to be 5 per player are going to be placed near the mutant zombie. Almost.
Alright, so there's 15 tokens.
Alright, and you just keep those next to the mutant zombie.
The rest stay in the bag.
Yep. Place the leadership tokens face down in the center of the play area. Shuffle them so their values are unknown. So this is just going to be off to the side.
Yep.
Make sure they're all face down and shuffle them around.
Same thing. I'm not taking these all out. There are way more than these. But shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And keep these in a stack.
For the leadership tokens, it's all of them. It's not based on player count.
Exactly.
And then the wound tokens will just be placed off to the side for whenever somebody gets wounded. And then you're going to give each player a reference card and 1 loot card that will be placed face up in their area.
Okay, so the reference card looks like this. One side says die results, and then the other side says the game phases. So it just reminds you of the phases, and then the results on what that side of the die can do when you roll it.
And draw your loot card.
What did Jeb get? Woo! Right off the top, he gets a Molotov. Very nice.
Alright, so everybody's going to start with one random piece of loot, so you'll at least have some kind of help against the zombies.
Right.
And that's everything for setup. So what you're seeing in front of you, like player board wise, all the players are going to have that.
Right.
And everything else to the left and right of the player board is going to be kind of like in a common area. So that's everything for setup. So we'll get into how to play the game.
Okay, game mechanics. As you can see, we didn't change anything from the setup because we'll be able to show you all the game mechanics happen right in front of you. You really don't need to worry about the rest of, well, I mean, you need to worry about what everybody else is doing, but you don't interact except with one thing with anybody else.
Right. So a real quick overview, it's going to go, everybody has a turn, like you have a turn, the next player has a turn, and when everybody has a turn that's a round, just keep playing rounds until the game is over. So a turn consists of an action phase, a mutant phase, and the advanced zombie phase. So everybody's going to do that on their turns. The end of the game happens when a player dies, somebody reaches the town line, or when the mutant zombie no longer has tokens around it. So just kind of keep that in mind, and we will explain a player's turn. So to begin with, say Mickey is this player, and he's the first player. So the first thing he's going to do is his action phase. And what you are going to do is roll all 6 dice.
So I have the 6. Remember, there's one die that came in this that's for solo play. So I roll the die, and
Mickey is allowed 2 more re-rolls, and he can keep whichever ones he wants, except for the zombie head, which he's forced to keep.
Right. So that brings us into, since I don't know how clear we were, I will tell you in a little bit more detail. So the dice have a bat side. The bat side can kill 2 zombies in zone 1, which is here. A gun can kill 1 zombie in any zone.
Any of your zones.
Right. In any of your, that's very important. The run symbol moves 1 zombie back 1 zone. And since we're elaborating, if it's in zone 3, you get to put it in somebody else's zone 3.
It moves into...
I'm sorry, to the player to your left.
Yes. And the search result?
Okay, the search result. The search and the explore are a little unique. So, this briefcase or suitcase or backpack or whatever it is the search. And if you roll 1 of these, you can draw a loot card. If you roll 2 of these, you can draw a follower card. If you draw 3, you get to draw 2 follower cards and keep 1. Important thing to note is that you can choose to do like a lower thing with the die. So if I didn't want a follower, I could draw 2 loot cards with those die.
Right, you're not forced into taking the highest option.
Or if I rolled 3, instead of drawing 2 followers and keeping 1, I could 1 loot card and 1 follower with 2 of these. Now, the only symbol I did not roll on this was the explore symbol. Explore symbol, kind of similar to the search, in that if you roll 1, you get to draw a location card. Now remember, you're trying to find the town line.
Which is in the bottom 5 cards of the deck, so you're going to want to actually explore. Bottom 6, yeah.
So you kind of want to get those. So, but if you roll 1, you get to draw the card, but these cards have a bad effect and a good effect. Okay? All of them do. And if you roll 1 and draw 1, you must take the bad effect. If, however, you roll 2 and you choose to draw a location, you do the bad effect and the good effect. If you roll 3, you only have to do the good effect. The game is very clear on the cards as a reminder too. So the bad is if you use 1 or 2, and the good is if you have 2 or 3. Makes sense.
And one quick thing, unlike the backpack, you cannot split your results. So if Mickey rolled 3 explores, he couldn't draw 3 locations and take the bad for each one.
That's correct.
You can only draw 1 location, and depending on how many of those you have, is what effect goes off.
I don't even know if I'd want to do this. I mean, I guess if it was towards the end of the game, I might risk it, but coming out the gate and taking 3 bad things.
Right.
All right.
And then the last thing was the zombies.
And the important thing about the zombies is they cannot be re-rolled. They sit aside, and then you're left with the rest of the die. The good thing about the zombies, though, is that many, many times the zombies trigger your special abilities on your card.
Yeah, so on your card, these are what you need to pay to do whatever ability. So as you can see, this one needs 2 zombies, 2 zombies, 3 zombies. So that's where they come in handy. However, they also have a bad effect, where later on they're going to spawn zombies.
Right. So as Jeb said, these are the cost. While we're talking about rolling die, these are the bottom row is the cost, and then this top section that's totally in white is the good thing you get from that combination of die.
Right.
Okay.
So like his would be spin 2 zombie and a running result, and that gets turned into 2 running results. So
just resetting, this is what I had when I rolled the first time. So I kind of I don't think I'm too worried about the running, so I want to read that. Getting at least 1 loot's good, and these 2 are good. So let's hold all these, and then let's roll these again. Oh, great. So I think I would probably stop there.
he would have an option to do 1 more re-roll if he wanted, but like he said, he's happy with what he got.
Right. So as a for instance, we already read you the results of die. So let me go through this roll, and you can see why I decided to stop with this roll.
Once you stop your rolling, now you resolve all your dice.
Yeah.
So that's what. Go ahead.
Okay. So the baseball bat, if you remember, and it's right on the card. See, a baseball bat I can use in zone 1. Lets me kill 2 zombies in zone 1. So I just take them off the board. I also have 2 guns. The guns let me take zombies from anywhere on the board. So I'm going to put 1 in this zone, and I'm going to put 1 here and 1 here. So I get to take a zombie off of zone 2 and zone 3. The reason I decided to do that was I'm hoping that next turn I'll get another baseball bat, and I'll be able to eliminate both of those with 1 die.
Right.
Maybe a little risky if I don't get it, but that's what I decided to do. I got the backpack, so I'm going to... and this person also has the Molotov, so it's kind of safe right now. And then for that, I'm going to draw a loot. So now I also have fireworks, which are good. And then I'm going to go ahead and get us our first location.
Alright, so he only has 1 location die. So that means he draws the card, and he's getting the bad effect.
Right. So this particular card, which is the gas station, the bad says take a wound. So I just plain have to take 1 in the face. And you have all followers and your characters have wound trackers on them, which is actually very nice. I like the way they did that with the wounds rather than just having them pile up and then a health number. It's actually nice to be able to cover the hearts like that. They are important. Any uncovered heart is worth a victory point. We'll reiterate that later. So anyways, so that's the bad effect, and then I just discard the location card off to the side.
Yep. And his last die is a zombie, which will do nothing in this phase. The last thing in the action phase that can happen is if you roll 5 or 6 zombies. So that's one of the worst results that you can roll. So say Mickey rolled 5 of them. Not me, it was Mickey.
There.
Alright, what happens is you will awaken the mutant zombie and draw 1 leadership token. If you rolled 6 zombies, you get to draw 2 leadership tokens. And then you immediately end your turn.
Which is funny. There's actually a benefit from it, because it kind of... it does crank up the game a little bit. So, anyways, when he wakes up, that's not the only way to wake him up either. There's cards in the game that just say, Mutant Awakens. So, just be prepared that rolling those dice, if nobody's rolling them, you are not free from this guy waking up. So when he wakes up, what do we do, Jeb?
When the mutant zombie awakens, you are going to place the zombie tokens next to him equal to the number of players plus 1. So even though they're 15 to begin with, you're going to slide It's a
In our case,
three-player
it's
game,
4.
so 4 are going to go next to him. These represent its health and provide leadership points to the players who fight him.
Okay. So, to elaborate a little bit more on that so you understand, so he had the pool that we started with. When he awakens, he brings this out. You can actually fire at him to destroy his, we'll call him his minions, which represent him as health. If you kill them all, he goes away.
Yes,
but
he's no longer active.
Right. Yeah, better terminology. He's no longer active, but if the game isn't over, he can be active again.
Yep.
And then 4 more would come in. And there's also some things that it can add to him while he's active. So
yeah, if you do an effect that causes him to awaken while he's already active, you would just place 3 zombie tokens next to his current health.
So you could just like make him more
powerful, beefed up.
All right. So in this scenario, because we're kind of merging things together. Now he's awake. So the second step is...
So once the action phase is complete, you will move to the mutant phase. In the mutant phase, if the mutant zombie is active, you must draw and resolve 1 mutant zombie card. So if he was not active, you pretty much skip this phase. But since we're pretending he is active, Mickey, how about you go and draw one of those?
Right. And remember, this is universal. Once he's awake, everybody does this. In case that wasn't clear, this isn't like he's... I just want to be clear because we have this so condensed. He is not like standing with this player. He's in the middle of the table and he affects all players. Just to be clear. Alright, so here's an example of a mutant card. Okay, and so I would just draw this during the mutant phase, and it says, lead the horde. All players advance 2 zombies, 1 zone on their board, and you may advance the same zombie twice. So, as you can see, all these mutant cards suck.
That's very true.
It is. So in this particular case, this person could decide to move these guys up right away. It could move 1, 2 spaces to satisfy it, but it's 2 zombies, 1 zone, 1 zombie, twice, however you want to
leave it that way. That'll be a good,
interesting combination. Okay, and then once everybody does that, the mutant phase is complete, and that gets discarded.
And one thing to note is while the mutant zombie is active, he can be hit with gun results. Mm-hmm. So if you had rolled a gun, like Mickey had 5 zombies and a gun, he could spin the gun to, well, not the turn that he awakened it, but later on you can hit it with a gun. That's it for this phase, right?
Yep.
All right.
So literally the zombie phase once he's awakened is literally just drawing a card. Yes. He doesn't do anything else except sit there until you pluck off all of these. That's it.
Right. All right. So once that phase is over, you will move to the advanced zombies phase. And what you will do is...
All right. So in the advanced zombies phase, literally it's kind of what you would think it is. Every zone moves down 1 space. So, starting with zone 1, move your zombies down. Then move to 2, move the zombies down. Then to 3, move the zombies down. That's advancing your zombies.
Yep. Then you will take a wound for each zombie on your character board, and you'll return that zombie back to the supply. So, in this case...
I let a zombie onto my character board... And I have to take another wound because evidently I can't look in my board and make a smart decision.
And then, after you've taken wounds, the fun part begins. Alright, so Mickey has 1 zombie result on his die this turn. So he is going to spawn 3 zombies plus how many he rolled, which is 1. So he puts 4 zombies in zone 3. Newly spawned zombies are always spawned in zone 3.
Right.
One.
Oh, just all I was going to add is like So one more if I had rolled 2, one more if I had rolled 3, so et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
It's literally always 3 plus whatever you roll.
Yep. And once you finish spawning zombies on your turn is over, and you will pass the 6 dice to the next player, and they will take their turn.
Over to the next player, here we go.
And this just happens over and over until the game ends. Which, what we said was, if a player is killed, so as you can see, that the Wanderer has 5 health. If he got 3 more, then he would be killed, and the game would end.
So the other condition is, if you go through the entire location pile and find the city line, then that's the other win condition.
And the last one is if the mutant zombie runs out of tokens, which are all stuck to
Mickey's arm. Alright, so a couple other things. So we showed you the mutant cards. We're not obviously not going to go through them all. You understand that they're bad. You got to see some loot cards. I will read you one real quick. So for an example, the Molotov cocktail, you discard this card to kill 4 zombies in zone 2 or deal 2 damage to the mutant zombie. Okay, so if there was 4 zombies here, the Molotov could wipe it all out, or I'm pretty good right now. If this thing was awake, I might choose to do this.
Yep.
First of all, that gives me victory, maybe, because some of these are 0.
Yeah, Mickey gets to look at them when he acquires them,
Yep.
but he is not forced to reveal them.
Right.
So.
But that would get him closer to not being active either.
Right.
And I'll tell you, these things really can mess with you, the mutant cards. So the only other card that we didn't talk about, because I don't think I went over picking one. I just did loot.
Well,
we
also didn't do running.
Right. I didn't do running and didn't do
follower.
Follower, because I only rolled one of these, so
right.
I didn't have a choice for that. So the first thing we're going to reiterate, we said it earlier, but the run token. Run token is literally move a zombie backwards. For each run token, you can move 1 zombie. So I could take zone 1, put it to zone 2. Or I could take zone 2, put it to zone 3. If I had 2 of them, I could put 1 all the way back. Any way you want to do it. If you want to move somebody from zone 3, you take the zombie and it moves to zone 3 to the player on your left.
Yes.
Okay? So that was one of the mess with conditions that Jeb and I were kind of talking about in the intro. It's not a heavy mess with your opponent game, but you gotta. It wouldn't feel like a zombie game if you just got to put him back into the supply. So he stays. He's just coming out your friend. So you can look at it like, the old saying is, I just want to run if I'm in a group, I just want to be able to outrun the other guy so he gets eaten, right? So that's basically the way you can look at it. All right. So that's all of the die, and the only cards that you didn't get to see were these followers, and these are pretty neat. If you roll 2 or even 3 of the search, right? Mm-hmm. Search die, you can draw a follower. Right? So here's an example of a follower. All the followers they're either good or bad. So this is kind of a bad one, because it has a negative sign. There are some with positives. Let me see if I can find one. Alright, so here's one with, and there's one other sign.
Skull.
There's one other sign, but he has actually both. Because Jeb, you can point for me maybe. So there's the minus sign at the top, there's a positive sign in the middle, and that has both, but what I'm looking for is that skull, and that's what happens when this guy dies.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what that means. So, for example, this is called Spoiled Brat. It's a negative. So when you get this follower, when it enters play, you have to discard one of your loot cards at random. So this guy would have to shuffle these up, and randomly discard one.
Shuffle, shuffle. Oh, that's what he's left with.
And then this card sits in front of you, so if you've noticed they have a health tracker, so they can actually take damage for you. Now, that person can only take one and then it dies, but it's not on your board. So, that's great.
And another thing to notice is that big old number 2.
Which are victory points. So, even though that person is bad, you only have to take you only have to take a punch in the face when they come into play.
Yeah.
Alright? Okay, so, then we have another one. This is a positive effect, though.
And you can have multiple followers.
Yep, multiple followers. So what's the positive effect on that, Jeb?
Once per turn, set a non-zombie die to a run result. He's the local coward, so he wants to run.
So that's kind of useful if you're trying to manipulate your zones in a certain way. Every turn he can make somebody run. Unfortunately, he has only 1 victory point and 1 health, but nothing bad happens to you when you get him. Alright. So, and like I said, the health can still absorb. Now this guy, how about this guy? He's got a negative effect, but he can suck up 3 health for you. So, the negative effect on that guy...
At the end of your advanced zombie phase, add a zombie to your zones 2 and 3. So he's bringing out more zombies.
Right, because he's infected.
Yep.
He's an infected guy, so every time when you're adding zombies, guess what? One has to go here, and one has to go here. And trust us, these things start getting full real quick in this game. But if you can deal with it, great.
He also has that lovely on-death effect,
Right.
which is he becomes a zombie in your zone 1. So when he dies, you get to place a zombie in zone 1.
So
and
why?
That's what happened to Tony.
Why in the world would you want that card, Jeb?
Oh, that huge 5 victory
in the
points.
top. So if you can finagle it so you can keep this guy alive and deal with it, 5 victory points at the end of the game. That's pretty boss.
Yep. Alright, so I think the last thing we need to talk about is, after the game ends, how to determine who wins.
Yep.
So the first thing, once the game ends, if you were the player that died, you're not going to win. So
That's correct.
this only involves living players, and what you're going to do is check to see who has the most leadership points. So the way you calculate them is to count the leadership value of every follower you have. So if the game ended right now...
Well, if this guy was able to keep all of these followers...
So that is 5 plus 1 plus 2 is 8.
Yep.
And then you're going to add the leadership value shown on the back of your leadership tokens and zombie tokens.
Right, so the blue ones are the leadership tokens, and again, random numbers on the back. So let's say he just had 1 leadership, he'd have another point, so he's at 9.
Yep, and he killed 2, or hit the big guy for 2, so you can...
Alright, so he hit the big guy for 2. We don't know what these were, but... Oh!
So he's a
13.
And then the last thing you're going to do is add 1 leadership point for each unfilled wound space on your character board.
1, 2, 3. So he gets 3 more.
Yep.
So he has 16 points going into his comparison with everybody else.
Yep. And whoever has the most is the winner, and there is a bunch of tiebreakers, which I don't know if it's really necessary to read.
No, we're not going to read them. Yeah, I mean, if you end up in a tie, you can look at what the tiebreakers are. So that is literally it to the game.
There's also a solo campaign. I was like...
I talked about
I knew
that.
you could play it solo, but I didn't know there was
Oh,
a
yeah,
whole
there's a little
campaign.
campaign
Okay, cool.
for it. Alright, so that is Run, Fight, or Die, Reloaded. Alright. It's pretty simple. I mean, hopefully all that made sense when we went through it. I know some of it was probably a little fast, and as we say every single time, if something kind of wasn't clicking for you, and especially in a game like this that's pretty simplistic, watch 5-10 minutes of gameplay. You should be able to pick it up really quick, and this is one of those games where I don't think you're really going to have very many questions. But that's it. And we're going to come back with a 3-player game with Gary, Jeb, and myself, and hopefully you enjoy this game.